So when we went with the Jayco All Terrain build, we knew that there'd be a few bits and pieces that we'd want to change to suit us.
We also knew that there would be shortcomings, making it insufficient for full-time living in the van. However, after more than a dozen issues in the first 6 months of us living in this, are we feeling disenchanted with this van?
Do we have regrets?
In this episode, we're going to show you around the modifications that we've been making, what issues we've had to conquer, whether Jayco's off-grid package is actually worthy of being able to get us off the grid and stay out there, and how we're finding van life almost 6 months in. If you're new here, I'm Heidi, and this is my husband Matt and our adventure dog Teddy. We recently sold up our beloved property, bought a big 4x4 van, and have decided to give full-time travel life a go. Our channel, Horton Adventures, shares with you the journey so far, from four-wheel driving, camping, now van life, and all the highlights and realities of taking the road less travelled. We've got some honest thoughts for you in this episode, but first, let's rewind slightly back to one of our favourite camp spots that we've found so far. After leaving the west coast to find the sun again, we stumbled upon a really peaceful free camp down by the river in central Otago, which was so lovely that we ended up staying as long as we could, just so that we could slow down and really soak up the good vibes of this spot. Good morning from paradise. It has been such a beautiful spot. I think we're going to stay here for the rest of the day. We had planned to keep moving, but this is such a lovely spot and we have it all to ourselves, so I think we're just going to make the most of it and stretch everything out for another day. Is it? Where's the rabbit? Where's the rabbit? Where's it?
Homemade fries. Pretty good.
Yum! This is how you know you've become a real van lifer, because we really need to probably get some more groceries, but we don't want to leave this spot because it's so good. So we're just using up all the stuff in our fridge, which, I mean, this is a good meal, but what did you say about my salad when I said that I was going to put cheese in it?
Oh, it's pretty 70s of you.
I've done a bit of work this morning, given Matt a haircut. I'm making myself a cacao and yeah, just soaking up. Like, this is what it's all about. We have got this place to ourselves. It is windy, but it has been really sunny. We've been getting lots of solar. We have both just had showers, and this is what it's all about. Being able to move on and get out of the weather, which is what we did leaving the west coast. We knew we weren't going to do much of the west coast on this trip, but we thought we can't really be bothered with a week of rain. So we've come back out into central, and now we've found a spot that we love and we don't want to move on, so we're not. Oh, it's so beautiful. Matt was too busy whipping me up with Monopoly Deal that I missed the sunset glow.
Here you come. Come on. Good boy.
campsite.
We'll be back.
Yeah. We're very sad to leave that spot down by the river. However, because we had some more things to fix and modify on the van, we decided that we would spend this last week back in Southland doing those things, and we really didn't pick up the camera very much. However, we are now on our way back out of Southland, and we're going to show you some of the stuff that we have done to the van. But currently we're on the road because we thought we would complete our week in Southland with a stopover to our favourite place.
Going into Piano Flat, and yeah, we're just going to go through the bush past the main campground and yeah, go find us a nice wee spot by the river.
So when we decided that we were coming into Piano Flat for a night, I didn't really think too much about it other than the fact that I love this place. And I kind of just assumed that because we're only coming in for a night that we would park in the main campground. And when I suggested that to Matt as we got here, what did you say to me?
We never camp in the main campground, and we got an all-wheel drive van, so we don't have to camp in the main campgrounds.
Yeah, we didn't get an all-wheel drive van not to take the four-wheel drive track up the hill. So that's what we're doing. Oh, this place makes my soul happy. Do you know what it is about Piano Flat?
I've been coming here since I was 2 years old.
Actually, it's funny how it's so special to you and me.
Even though we're from slightly different areas.
Yeah. You've been recreating here all your life, and so have I, in different ways.
So when we went with the Jayco All Terrain build, we knew that there'd be a few bits and pieces that we'd want to change to suit us.
We also knew that there would be shortcomings, making it insufficient for full-time living in the van. However, after more than a dozen issues in the first 6 months of us living in this, are we feeling disenchanted with this van?
Do we have regrets?
So let's jump in and show you what we have been up to with more modifications this week and do a bit of a summary on the modifications that we have done in the first 6 months, including some of the things that we have had to get fixed or fix ourselves.
So as we mentioned in a previous episode, we've removed the third seat from here, and currently it just has a bit of foam on there which we still need to customise, but now we have a heap of storage underneath here. So all of this was to allow us to install a freezer, because the freezer in the fridge is not very big and it's a bit hard to access. So anyway, we bought this 15 litre Bushman fridge, and I had to make up a platform for it to attach to, and then that's attached to there, so it's solid, it's not going anywhere, and it just runs off the cigarette plug. So a bit of an update on the shelf. This has been real handy. Store a lot of stuff up here, but mainly it's to put our window shades up there and a few excess bits and pieces, some sneaky snacks over there. But yeah, it's been really good, really like it. It's very versatile. We've also relocated our mesh pockets just for bits and pieces. They were on the door, but you couldn't really put anything in it because every time you opened the door they would just scratch down the side of the van or crush whatever was in there. This aluminium L bracket here has also been quite handy, just if you need to dry something. We don't have a clothesline or anything in here, so just grab one of these pegs, peg her up, just like that.
The other thing that you might notice about the front of the cab is that we have got quite a bit of living in a bubble branded gear. So Matt touched on the living in a bubble window covers that we have stored up here. We've actually still got the front windscreen one plugged in at the moment because when it's sunny that keeps so much heat out of the front of the van, which is really good. And they're completely blackout and thermal, so they really help keep the cold out at night time. And we also, when we got those, we also got this back seat caddy, which has been really useful. It's pretty much all Teddy's stuff, but we put charger cables in here. This actually comes off, which is quite cool, and like a toilet bag. So if we're at a campground we could take that, and then Teddy's gear. It just is really accessible, but keeps it all tidy. And then also the fly screens, we got them for the back and the slider. I love the one at the back. It means that you can have the back doors open and be lying in bed and no bugs are getting in. We're in Piano Flat at the moment, and the sandflies at the start of the season are ginormous. They have been brutal since we've arrived. The jury's out on this one for the slider. It works really well when it's up. It's a little bit of a brute to get up and put in place, and you kind of need two people, and it's a little bit annoying. The back ones we can leave installed the whole time. When the doors are closed, it stays within the inside the rubber seal, so you can leave them up. This one you can't leave up. It's all magnetic, and if you tried to shut the door with this up, it would interfere. So we have to take it down every time we close the door, which is a bit of a pain. We'll give this a summer and see how we go.
We knew when we bought this fan that we weren't going to use the microwave. That was a decision we made early on. So I just made a new drawer out of some plywood, and it's been fantastic. There's a hell of a lot of stuff in here. It's probably way too heavy for the type of materials that the drawer slides are actually screwed to, so I've had to beef them up a little bit. Along with the pantry cupboard, we've also made a couple other modifications to suit the gear that we've got with us. This cupboard has the air fryer, just made a compartment for it to sit in so it's not moving around. It's working really good. This side just made another wee shelf, got some pieces to sit in so they're easier to access.
The other thing that Matt has recently modified is this hatch under the bed. So we had this partitioned off right from the start and rerouted the diesel heater vent to come out instead of under the bed, but we didn't have this hatch. So Matt has put this wee hatch door on here recently, and it just makes all this space in here really easy to access. So we have got our shoes, we can just chuck our shoes in here. We've got a laundry bag, vacuum cleaner, and that is all really easy to get to, but keep nice and tidy. And he's also put a partition on here, so he's opened up all the tunnel boot space from the back of the van, which we can still lean over and grab things like our tramping boots. But this stops stuff from sliding too far forward or too far back.
So we've also built some extra shelving over top of the diesel heater, which is under the bed. So we've just been doing a couple more modifications to the back of the van here. Where the diesel heater is down in this compartment, there's no covers over it or anything, so you can't basically put anything in there. It even says do not use this compartment for storage. So I decided to put a shelf above the diesel heater so we can use it for storage. So now we've got a heap more storage.
Yeah, because that whole area you couldn't put anything in because of one little diesel heater that wasn't protected. So how good. It has covered it all up.
Yep, 6 screws and you can get in there and get that out.
You can still see the fuses and everything. You can still have all the intake, but now we have somewhere to put some stuff. This will be things that we won't
access this often.
Yeah, so stuff we don't want often, but it's just now look at all of that volume of area that we actually can utilize now. Good job.
Just a few other things that you've already seen us modify. Got the extra solar panel on the roof. We put in a hot water saver valve and also the water accumulator down by the water pump. One of the things that we still need to modify is our water capacity, because Jayco only installed an 80 litre tank, which is definitely not enough to keep you off grid. You can probably do 4 days at a push with that. We'd like to do a bit further, so we're going to take the spare wheel out and put another tank in there and put that spare wheel on the back door.
So we have still got lots of stuff that we want to modify, but now we're getting to the more major things. So like Matt said, putting the spare wheel on the back, we want to put more storage on the back and add our bikes and everything, and we think we're going to have to fabricate a lot of that aluminium, what do you call that? Framework. That aluminium framework, because while you can get that stuff in Australia and America for these vans really easily, there just isn't anything on the New Zealand market, and we're struggling to find anyone that will ship us stuff out of Australia. But for now, we've done pretty much all the minor stuff, I think.
We can always improve things, and which we will do along the way.
And I think that's going to be a fairly continuous thing. We'll add something else to the list, and we'll continually be adapting and evolving.
So some of the major stuff that we're still yet to do is actually going to help us stay off grid for a bit longer as well. One thing that we don't have with us at the moment is our max tracks. So if we do get stuck somewhere, we're kind of buggered, but we'll get them on the side with a max tracks table, so then we'll have an outdoor table as well. Then I'm going to build some frames on both the rear doors, one to take the spare wheel so we can put the new water tank underneath. The other one will have our mountain bikes on it and a storage box of some description so that we can put more gear in outside of the vehicle.
Okay, so those are some of the modifications. But let's chat about some of the things that we have had to get fixed under warranty, or that we've just ended up fixing ourselves, and the quality, I guess, of the Jayco build-out platform.
So I guess the first thing was our electrical system. When we got it, it was supposed to have 600 watts of solar. It only had 200 watts on the roof, and they forgot to give us the other 400 watts. So that was a bit of a muck around. They did come to the party and give us the other 400 watts by way of foldable panels that you put outside, which are quite good in winter to get the different angles of the sun. So, you know, that's all good.
So these vans come standard with 200 watts installed on the roof, and we upgraded our full electrical system, and we just assumed, and we shouldn't have, but we just assumed that they would install more on the roof, and instead it was just supplied as blankets, and it wasn't supplied very effectively either. We've had to make some changes to the wiring setup
so we can get the most out of them. The way that they were provided, they were working, just not very efficiently.
So our solar controller is 40 amp, and now we can get a maximum input of 40 amps, whereas the way they originally had it wired up, we were only getting 20. Yeah. So we have fixed that ourselves, which was a really cheap different wire to
what they provided us.
It's just easier to do it ourselves and make it more efficient, but it did make it kind of feel like the additional solar was a little bit of an afterthought on their part. But now we have got 400 watts installed on the roof of the van, and we have 400 watts in portable solar blankets, and we're finding that really good at charging our 400 amp hour lithium battery. Obviously we've got DC charging when we're driving, but are we finding that enough for getting off grid and not having to plug in?
Yeah, I think it's been working really good. We're probably using about 20% of the battery a day, and obviously depending on what you're using for your cooking, you'll use more or less. But we've got a Thermomix and an air fryer, and they both draw a reasonable amount. But yeah, we've been able to top it back up quite easily, and I can't actually remember the last time we had to use a plug.
Yeah, I think we've plugged into shore power at a campground once in the time that we've been on the road since we left Ashburton. Don't think we've really used more than maybe 30% of the battery in a day yet.
Yeah, that would be maximum. Yeah.
Which means that we could, even if we're not being considerate of our power, we could do it 2 to 3 days with absolutely no input. But I think we can quite comfortably get 4 or 5 days with minimal input, and maybe just not using those high draw appliances as well.
So another issue that we had with our charging side of things was the DC to DC charger. It wasn't working properly. So anyway, we took that in to get repaired, and it was quite a painful experience. We knew what was wrong with it. Jayco just hadn't wired it up correctly. But yeah, it was a very painful experience. Took 3 trips to Jayco to get it sorted.
And that is a little bit of a precursor into that particular dealership that we were doing our warranty stuff with. We had some more issues crop up, and the whole experience with that particular dealership had been less than desirable. But they did get everything sorted. It was just painful.
Yeah, they did our first service, charged us $375
to look at it,
to look at it. Basically, they glued a little bit of trim back on. They didn't want to know about any of the things that we'd actually asked to be repaired, and we got home that day and found out that our shower base was all hairline cracked. Somewhere along the line someone knew about it too, because it had been spray painted and all of that paint was coming off.
They didn't hide the issue with the shower floor. It was just something that I found when I was cleaning it, but then that became the next thing, so we had to get that sorted, and they were really good, and they got it sorted for us before we left the area. It was frustrating, but it wasn't their fault. They were definitely helping us get it sorted, but it just felt like we really had to fight for stuff.
They basically sanded down the old one, and then they layered in a new fiberglass floor and put a new gel coat over it. And I actually really prefer the new floor over the old one. It's much easier to clean, and it's nicer to stand on.
Yeah.
So they've done a good job, the guys that actually repaired that floor. It's very sturdy now, and I don't think we'll have any issues with that going forward. I'm probably a little bit tough on them, but I like things to be lined up, and things that are supposed to be square, screws that are supposed to be done up to be done up. Adjustments on, like for example, your door and your drawer openings. This particular drawer, you go around a corner and the drawer would come out. They just didn't have the adjustments right, so it wasn't catching on its catch, and all I had to do was make up a spacer and lower that down so it would actually lock into place. But yeah, just silly little things that could be done better, all fixable by myself without too much drama, but just annoying more than anything. A couple of not so minor issues were water leaks. One of them was actually on the ceiling.
It was coming out, like we were just noticing drips coming down here.
And so above that is the wine guard system, which is actually an internet booster. Basically it just has 4 self-tapping screws that hold it down to the roof, and while they had put sealer in there, it wasn't working. It was pulling in there and then running down through the screw holes and then into the cab. So I had to get up there, dig all that out, pull the screws out, redo them, and I just made the sealer proud at the top so the water would actually run off instead of pulling into it, and we haven't any issues with that since. The next thing is the corner sink in the shower. It developed a leak also, and it was just consistently dribbling out of the bottom of the sink. So I decided to take it into my own hands because I didn't want to leave it with Jayco for a week to get it sorted. Took it off the wall and found that where the tap is actually mounted into the sink, there's an O-ring on the top, and that's supposed to sit flush down on top of the sink. It was not. There's a gap at the back. The water from the shower was just trickling down in there and filling up the bottom, and then eventually finding a hole in the silicone and leaking out. So took that all apart, put some sealer underneath that O-ring, put it all back together again, cleaned it all up, new sealer, and Bob's your uncle. Happy days.
So are we feeling disenchanted with van life and our choice of build out platform?
I mean, we did a lot of research before we bought this particular van. The price point on it was miles better than everything else on the market for very similar, if not lower specs. We understood that we were wanting to change things on it ourselves, so realistically you buy a slightly cheaper build out, you've got a wee bit more money to play with to change it to suit yourself. Because even if we bought the more expensive vans, we still would have had to change things to suit ourselves. This particular layout also really appealed to us. Well, the size of the shower bathroom, because I'm 6'1" and just under 100 kgs, I need a wee bit of room.
There was nothing else comparable on the market with this layout, which if we had designed a build ourselves from the ground up, it would be very, very similar to this layout. So that was a major draw card for the Jayco. And also another thing is, in New Zealand, to get an all-wheel drive or a 4x4 Sprinter, the options were so limited on built-out campers. In those limited options, like the price difference was over $50,000 difference. So we're not going to spend that much money making it suit us.
Nowhere near it.
It definitely has sucked when these issues keep cropping up. It feels like we haven't fixed the existing issue before another one crops up, and that has been a bit stressful to deal with. However, when you look at the major issues that could go wrong and do go wrong, and some of the issues that people are facing in the RV industry, everything that we have had to deal with has been very cosmetic and minor overall. Everything is fixable.
Nothing actually stopped us from using the vehicle either, by the way.
Yeah.
We were always still able to use it, and we were still able to make things work.
There is a lot of stuff that we love about the Jayco build and that they have done really well. I really love their all the aesthetic of their build compared to much else on the market. There's so many of them that are very caravan-y, like old school caravan-y fit outs inside, and if that makes sense, like just quite sort of like
just a wee bit dated. And
dated, yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Just not the modern aesthetic that you'd be expecting from a 2025 build.
And things like the electrical system, like we upgraded, and it's the full projector system has been faultless. It has been done really well. There's a lot of things that have been done really well, and it will happen whether we have bought a brand new van under warranty or an old one that we had to fix stuff on, or built one up ourselves. You're moving your home every time you drive, and you're putting it under a lot of stress, so things are going to break and shift and move and stretch and wear out. And
we took it one step further and bought an all-wheel drive one, so we can go places that you wouldn't take in normal campers. So no doubt I'm going to damage something by going somewhere that we probably shouldn't, but we can, but that's the whole fun of it. And that's when my skills sort of come into play. I can fix things myself, and if it's something that I can't fix, I'll probably have a mate in the industry somewhere that will be able to help out.
At least we know every single thing about this van, and we know all of its issues from day zero.
And the fact that those issues will be fixed
and how they've been fixed, because a lot of them we'll fix ourselves.
Exactly. All the servicing history, which is something that you don't get when you buy a second-hand vehicle. That was important to us. Like, we know how it's been driven because we're its first owners and all of that. Anyway, I hope that this has been an insightful video and has maybe answered some of the things that you've been wondering about our van. It isn't a full tour. We are planning on doing a full van tour soon, I promise. We've kind of just been holding off because, as you see in this video, we've been making modifications and continuing to make changes to make this van more us. So we're getting there. We can safely say that we don't have regrets. No.
We're happy.
It's taking us to all the places we want to go. Like,
we're out here doing it.
Our backyard changes every week. It's just fantastic. So this is what we wanted, and it's allowing us to do that regardless of whether it has any problems. So yeah. See you next time.
Do you reckon that this video will get very many views? Because this is just us yarning. You're the star of the show. What do you reckon? 6 months of us living in it. Do we... What's the question? I have something to say and I've forgot it. Everything about our van on wheels, but home on wheels.
Your van. That's alright. Same thing. What
do you call that?
Stuff. That's a good shot of tease, but